We continue our conversation here on MBL with another staff member of 8 Days of Hope, Hannah Fletcher, whose name actually growing up was Hannah Tiber, if I got that right. But anyway, she is a staff member of 8 Days of Hope, daughter of Steve Tiber. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Very good. And I really have wanted to hear your story because your dad refers to you a lot. You're the one, I think, that sometimes tells others that you know how to set toilets and stuff, and I'm wondering how a young lady knows how to do that kind of stuff.
Well, it's all thanks to the wonderful mentors that I've had here at 8 Days of Hope. I've had the privilege of growing up on these trips. I've been coming since I was 8, which is a blessing and a curse because all of these leaders have seen me from such a young age. But they were also gracious to take me on their job sites and to teach me and to give me skills that I never would have had because my dad's much better with a microphone than he is with a power tool.
I know that to be true. She tells the truth. It's amazing. But let's talk about this for a second, because originally I think you grew up in you were born in the Buffalo area. Your mom and dad and family moved to Tupelo, Mississippi. I'll let you tell the story, but then at some point when your dad got involved in founding this ministry, that's, I guess, when you got personally involved yourself?
Yeah, so in 2005 when we went to Hurricane Katrina, I was living in Tupelo, and I went with the family. I was only 8, so I was down there. We ate MREs every single day, and my job was to help pass them out. And since then, I've been cleaning tables, and then as I grew older, I joined the leadership team, and I started learning how to do orientation and things like that. And now for Buffalo, I do our media relations and our partnerships, and then I also lead a landscaping crew called Love and Serve Landscaping, and we take hordes of volunteers and go just up and down the streets of the Maston district offering free landscaping to anybody in need.
That's incredible. All right, so, but for somebody who's like an outsider, I mean, you show up at one of these events, it's kind of overwhelming. Like, the logistics of what it takes. I mean, just stop and think about it for a minute. If you're just an average person and you're like, I'm going to paint the shed this weekend. So you think about it, you buy the paint, but you forget the paintbrush. Now you got to run back to Home Depot to get the paintbrush. At job sites here, you're talking about shovels and rakes and hammers and power tools and, you know, plywood and mulch and what. Who figures this out?
We have a wonderful team of leaders, about 180 leaders. They come in early. They go out to every job that we're going to do. They make a list of materials. They buy it. We have it in a warehouse, so we're not running to Lowe's or Home Depot if we don't have to. We're going to our own warehouse to get those materials. And then during the trip, we have people. This is my favorite job personally. They just take a credit card and they sit at our stores and they swipe all day long. Can you imagine that? Imagine if your gift was shopping. You could use that here at 8 Days of Hope.
We've got some very gifted people listening right now that are like, I want a part of that. That's unbelievable. Okay, but now let's talk about the practical side for a minute, because you're growing up in this family where your dad is led to found 8 Days of Hope. After Hurricane Katrina, you start going all over the country, you know, following this tornado, that hurricane, and ministering to people with the love of Christ, which is a wonderful thing on one hand. But on the other hand, you're a young lady growing up. Did you ever feel like, Dad, can't we just stay home and like have a picnic or something?
I have loved being on these trips. We talk about it a lot in the leadership meetings. This is family. And in often cases, this has been more of my family than even my other family that I've known. It's just because I've spent so much time with them, and it never feels like it's a chore to come here. It's honestly just a joy to be able to serve and to be with the people who are like-minded in Christ and who pursue this goal. They put their dedication so seriously, and they love it. And so it's refreshing to come here. We leave weary and tired, but our hearts are full and our spirits are full, and it makes me cry. I'm tearing up a little bit right now because I just love being here so much and serving, regardless of whether we're in Buffalo or we're serving tornado victims or we're doing a safe house. It's family, and it's just a joyful trip to be on regardless of the situation.
Such a cool thing. Yesterday here on the radio we were talking about Acts 20:35, where Jesus said it's more blessed to give than to receive. And I just know that's true fundamentally, because when you watch a 4-year-old child who just drew a picture for mommy, give that picture to mommy. I mean, they're just so delighted to be able to give. And so that's a reality. I mean, but talk about that in light of what you do, because what you do is exhausting. And people come out, they serve from 7 a.m. till 4 p.m. and sometimes for 8 straight days, just doing grueling work. Is it really more blessed to give for 8 straight days than it is to receive?
Oh, yes. I think of being here last year, or in 2019, and we were sitting in the room listening to homeowners share their stories about what this meant that we came here. And this one lady, she was talking about her roof and her porch and the things that we were helping, and she said, I had no hope. And then you guys showed up. But God, gave me hope. And those 2 words, but God, I just started crying because I think of how wonderful it is and how gracious it is that our God continues to give to us. And being able to give to others and just have that overflow, it fills me up. More than any other gift I could get, being on these streets and seeing these homeowners and just praying with them and loving on them and throwing the football with their kids, it fills me up more than the effort that I'm putting out. And I think it's a that way for a lot of volunteers. It's hard work, it's fun work, but being there and seeing the result of that, seeing people say our whole street is changed. We never thought it could look like this. Or seeing the park and saying we get to stay there and have fun and go have family events there now. It's overwhelming. It's worth it.
It's similar. I'm thinking about the grace of God as you're speaking because, we've done nothing to deserve God's grace. In fact, we don't deserve it. That's why it's grace, but God pours it out on us anyway. And there have to be people who say, I felt hopeless and I didn't know where to turn, but God showed up and ministered to me. And so you've not only seen homes and communities change, you've seen literally lives change. People have come to Christ, and that has to be eternally rewarding for you.
Yes, it's the biggest reward of what we do is knowing that even though we may have a small impact and we may not always see that seed watered and grown, that it's happening and that God is changing lives through us. And it's a joy to be a part of, and it's a privilege to be able to say that we get to be servants of Christ every day.
Obviously, 8 Days of Hope Buffalo is a planned event. You guys are also doing some of the Safe House ministries with human trafficking around the country. I'll let you talk about that. But do you ever watch the weather forecast and say, oh, please, hurricane, just turn out into the ocean because I got something coming up next week?
Oh, yes. We were preparing to come to Buffalo, and that hurricane, I forget the name, Hurricane Elsa popped up on the radar, and I just texted Chandler, who works with me, and I was like, it's going to be a fun week because not only do we get to do things like 8 Days of Buffalo, we have to respond to natural disasters, too. And so it's always an interesting thing to navigate that. But we have people who love to come to things like 8 Days of Buffalo and people whose goal is to go to the rapid response events and people who just want to do rebuilding. So we've been blessed with a huge team that's willing to go anywhere and sometimes serving in up to 3 places across the country as once. We're
talking with Hannah Fletcher, who literally got involved during Hurricane Katrina in 2005. Her dad is the founder of 8 Days of Hope. Your whole family's been involved, obviously, but somewhere along the line you got married, so you're going to have to tell us that story. Was this an 8 Days of Hope romance or not?
No, it wasn't. We both met at church serving together, actually. So he serves in our special needs ministry, and I served in nursery, and we went to meetings every week and things like that, and he just kept pestering me. And I finally agreed to go hang out with him one night, and less than 3 months later we were engaged, and in under a year we were married. So it's been a blast. He's excited to come. He's not on this trip, but he'll be with us for Cedar Rapids in a couple months, and he'll be going on Safe Houses with me.
How long you been married?
About 9 months.
Wow, congratulations. Unbelievable. So who's better at home improvements, you or him?
Definitely him. He does flooring.
Oh, okay. He does flooring? Yeah. Is he going to teach you that?
I've already learned a little bit, not a lot.
I love your heart. I love your spirit. You're so dynamic. That's awesome. Well, anyway, listen, speak to the people of Buffalo because there's still a couple of days left. They can get involved. They can get personally involved. And I think the thing that it's not just that they come and serve and work on someone's home. It's that the individual homeowners are going to be impacted, but their lives will be impacted by serving.
Yeah, you never know what it's like to say yes to God. It's always scary, and so if you have that desire in your heart and you're maybe not sure what to do with it, just do it. This is a great place to volunteer. We have a ton of fun. We'll send you somewhere in your community you can get plugged in, and not only that, you're making an impact that you're going to see the difference of years down the road. So it's a really, really enjoyable experience. Don't be afraid. We're all a little bit crazy, but we really enjoy it, and there's always something to do, whether you like painting or landscaping or maybe you like roofing. We have something for everyone, even if you just want to try it. We're willing to teach you how to do things. So it's a wonderful experience.
Even as we're speaking, I'm looking at people signing up to be a part of 8 Days of Hope just over your shoulder there at the registration table. You can come right here to the All High Stadium behind Bennett High School and say, I want to be a part of this thing. And they will put you to work, no matter whether you're extremely skilled or less skilled. But the other thing I wanted to mention, that's one way that people join 8 Days of Hope. The other thing is to sort of grow it from within. You were a child when you got involved, so now that you're married, are you hoping to grow the team by, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do know what you're saying. Yeah, we will be bringing our future kids on 8 Days of Hope.
Hannah hopes to be fruitful and multiply this ministry. Praise God. Hannah, thanks for being with us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. It's been a blast.
God bless. Unbelievable. All right, go to 8daysofhope.com and sign up to be a part of this incredible ministry. We'll be back with more in just a moment.